Hello everyone, I know it's dark in here, we're keeping the light off temporarily. I just wanted to bring you a video. It is 5:43 a.m. September 11th, 2019, and I just wanted to say to all of those who lost a loved one today, I just want to give you some positive energy. Today is September 11th. It is the anniversary of what happened in 2001. I'm trying to think right now. It is the... Wait a minute. I wanted to say 18 years. Well, I think it's been more than that, hasn't it? This is 19. It's been 20 years. It has been 20 years. Yeah, because if you were born in 2001, you'd be 20 years old. Yeah, it has been 20 years. No, you'll be... My bad, no, you'll be 18? Wait a minute. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 17, 18. Yeah, you'll be 18 years old. I'm sorry. I'm slightly math is way off by 2. It's been 18 years since the infamous sad day happened, the tragic day happened, where the Twin Towers and the Pentagon, along with another plane crashing into a field in Pennsylvania. The 2 planes crashed. One in the North Tower, one in the South Tower. in Twin Towers. A plane crashed into the Pentagon, and a plane crashed into a field in Pennsylvania. I believe it was headed towards the White House. Um, with that being said, I just want you guys to take a few minutes out of your busy day and remember where you were that day, how you felt that day, and what you saw that day. I remember I was uh, I transferred to an alternative school at Truman College, and I remember walking into my English class, and there was a TV in the English class, in our English class, and it was on, and I said, "Ooh, what movie is this? What movie are we watching?" And nobody said anything. So I raised my hand and I asked the teacher, I said, "What movie are we watching?" And he said, "It's not a movie. It's happening. This is happening. This is uh, planes crashed into the Twin Towers, and we're going to be watching the news." So I just remember feeling disgust, anger. Why would somebody do this? Um, a lot of different emotions as to what happened. Um, I don't think I was sort of aware of what was going on during that time. Ew. Every time I yawn, my eye ducts squirt out. Well, they don't squirt out. Like they run. Like a runny nose, and it's irritating. I have dry eyes, so. Anyway, so I just remember feeling disgusted and upset, and that this was happening. Why is this happening to us? What caused it? What's gonna happen now? Cause the last, uh, because before this, I mean, I remember us invading Iraq. You know, barely because I was a kid. I remember when the Iraq War started. I remember going through the '90s, and they would put it on TV. Mind you, they don't show this stuff now. Now they don't show it. But back in the '90s, when Bush Senior was in office, they would literally go to footage of them taking Mark on a stronghold area and blowing it up. It'd be like a black and white camera, and there were planes, and you would hear the guy on the plane with the, because they have uh, headsets in their uh, helmets. You just hear the guy talking. You hear this guy's voice, and then you would hear fire, and then because you would see this little X mark, this little X mark, and or like this little plus sign. It's like a little plus sign. It's like a little target, and you would see it, and you would see him pointing a little plus sign, and it's like a marker. It's how you aim, and you get it on the target. You aim it at the target. Once you're centered on the target, you release the button, and they were centered on the targets, and you would see these little black and white cameras moving around, and you would see them center on a target, and all of a sudden you see like dust kick up. That's from them blowing it up. So, growing up, I would see this on TV, on the news, and today they don't show that stuff. Um, I don't know. I don't know why. And I remember I would ask my parents, like, "Ooh, what are they doing? What are they doing?" And my parents would be like, "Oh, they're blowing up the bad guys." So, you don't know a lot of things as a child till you get older. And, you know, from war, there are casualties. Sometimes they're the people you want. Sometimes there's people that are around. It's what happens in war. And they thought that they could come over here and do that type of stuff to us. And then you grow up and you realize, you know, it's not just terrorism from somewhere else. There's also terrorism here on our own soil, where people are saying that they're better than everybody because they're superior people. And it's like, well, you can't be that superior if you're making these irrational, destructible decisions. Like, somebody can't be too smart if they're gonna go and kill a whole bunch of people because they don't like them, because they had a bad experience with one person. And it's like, or they had bad experience with 5 people. It's like you can't do something to to somebody or people because you've had a bad experience with a few people. You know, there's bad people in everywhere. You know, but we also have to teach our children that. We have to teach our children what they should and should not put up with. We have to teach our children that if you could talk a disagreement out with somebody and express how you feel, then great. If you've tried that and they're still bothering you, then yeah, punch them in the face. I have no qualm about if you told somebody to leave you alone and they continue to just then yeah, by all means, maybe they need to learn that way. Sometimes, and that's a good way because then it teaches your children how to formulate rational thinking, how to problem solve, you know. Sometimes you do you need to be barbaric and you know. Other times it's just an honest mistake and they didn't know any better, you know. I seen a video of this little white girl calling a black baby a word that should not be used, period. And what was sad about it is that her parents used the word, obviously, but she used it and didn't even know what it means. She said it multiple times, though. The first time, you don't know what it means. Okay, I get that. But you continue to say it. So obviously, you see a black child, and that's the first thing you obviously think about because your parents raised you that way. Nobody, nobody is born with this thought. Children are instinctively going to hug another child their age, when they see that child cry. It doesn't matter what they look like. Parents are who teach the children right from wrong, good and bad. This is what you need to do to be this way throughout life. We instill discipline. When a parent teaches their child who instinctively is going to play with other kids because, hey, we're all kids. Let's run around together. Let's go play. Let's go find the little buggies and poke at them, When a parent teaches their kid, no, I don't want you playing with this child because they're black. You just taught your child that. You just specifically taught your child, I do not want you to play with this kid because this kid is black. That's what you just taught your child. Now, I don't know, the person that would seem to have been watching the children was better understanding than me because I don't know. The first time I'd have let it go. The second, third, fourth time I would have been understanding, and that little girl probably would have got disciplined. However, anyhow, she would have gotten reprimanded. Um, and yes, I'm very old school. Especially when it comes to discipline. Um, a lot of stuff, They were taught, the people that crash the planes were taught that all Americans are bad, and you know, they were taught that. They were taught to hate somebody because they were different from them. You know, because of something their parents have went through themselves, and then they chose to go that route of doing what they did. You know, a lot of this stuff is programmed into you. A lot not into you, but a lot of the stuff is programmed into people already because either A, their parents taught them this way, or B, they specifically had experiences with people that were different from them, and that has taught them to be this way. You know, those experiences have taught them how to hate somebody, how to dislike somebody because they're different. And honestly, that's not okay. Period. Whether it was taught to you or you learned it because you had a bad experience with somebody from that culture, it's wrong in every way, shape, and form. And a lot of these wars have to deal with things that they have that we want. Instead of negotiating, we just go over there and they come, you know, it's back and forth. A lot of it is, you know, religious based, a lot of it's food based, a lot of it is, you know, natural resource based. And it's not, to me, it's not okay to be hurting somebody just because you feel like it. You know, it's not. You know, I've met a lot of people who I've met everybody. I've met different people everywhere. You know, I don't know. When you get older, stuff changes you. And a lot of times, sometimes that their way of thinking because you've seen all of this going on. You go in a mindset of that way. You know, I'm you know when I had to go over there, and I don't tell people this. I mean, it wasn't much of anything. It was just like being on vacation, but being stuck somewhere you can't get back home for an extended period of time, and you have to work every day. You don't get one day off. Not one. Mm-mm. A day off where? Yeah, non-existent. Um, so when I came home, I took advantage of having a extended period time off. I took up all my leave time, damn near. Matter of fact, I think I did take up most of my leave. Anyway, I think I have like 30 some days, maybe. Anywho, so um, But you kind of go over there, and because you don't know who's who, you don't really trust anybody. It's a lot of people you work with. You don't know if they're coming in, and you don't know their background. You know, they don't tell you, even though they're supposed to be vetted. They don't. They're not honest, and it's so easy to get. Like when I was over there, I had a nightmare. I had a bad dream that we got somebody new, and they weren't who they said they were. And a lot of bad stuff happened because of it. But that was just a dream. But it's little stuff like that that make you kind of paranoid in a way, to like not really trust anybody over there. And it's like, in a way, it's understandable, but then it's like, even when you're going over there, you're told to be very mindful and aware of who you're around. So it could be anybody, but I'm not saying it's right, but it's what happens. You know, and a lot of things, if you're doing things unconsciously and not really, you've been doing it because of your training or whatever. You know, it's one thing. I mean, it's similar. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, I guess. You're doing something subconsciously that you don't know what you're doing, but then it starts to go into a route where you just don't trust anybody, that if they're not wearing the uniform you're wearing, you got to keep an eye on them. And in that same instance, it's like, you come home and it's like, okay, you get back into your natural habitat. There's a lot of stuff you just don't really think about. You come back home and it's like, for some, it's easy to integrate back in. For others, it's not. Because then they get back home and it's like they're fighting everybody. They get into an argument with somebody. It's like all hell breaks loose. You know, it wasn't so bad for me. It was just a lot of stress of me being gone and away from my family for so long that all I wanted to do was go on vacation and get a tan. My reason for joining up was because I was seeing all that stuff on TV, I wanted to go and help, you know. Even though I only stayed in for what, a few years. If I would have stayed in longer than that, I probably would have got out, wouldn't been able to walk, cause my back is fucked up. Everything's screwed up. There's a lot of stuff I can't even. I take CBD oil for my pain and inflammation. I know there's no THC in CBD, but yeah, it's life. I told my son about what his father told me when I met his dad about where he was that day. But that's not a story for me to tell. That's his story for him to tell. I don't even know if he remembers it or not. He probably doesn't even remember he told me about it. But anyway. That's not my story to tell, that's his. Everybody has a story that they can tell for that day. And that's their story to tell. Now, if the person's not here on this earth, then that's one thing. But if the person's here on earth and still breathing, then they should tell their own story. I tell my son that because I don't think his father would ever tell me. But that's his story to tell the public if he wants to tell the public his story. But yeah, that's that. So I'm always worried about something happening. Because you know, a lot of times stuff will happen. You be so comfortable and then BAM! It hits you like a ton of bricks.